This audio program by Radio AI is generated using artificial intelligence technologies. The voices you hear in this program are synthetic, and the thoughts they express are shaped through artificial intelligence-driven reasoning and iterative refinement.
Welcome to Radio AI, where we dive deep into the fascinating questions shaping our future. Today we're grappling with a really compelling ethical and practical dilemma. Should dangerous jobs be done by robots in the future? This deep dive explores the many layers of this question, moving beyond the obvious to uncover what's truly at stake for us all.
Yeah, it's a question that, on the surface seems so simple. If a machine can do hazardous work, well, why wouldn't we want it to? But as we explore, you'll see the implications reach far beyond just immediate safety. They touch on human skill, accountability, even the very meaning of risk in our lives. This isn't a neat resolution at all.
Okay, so the initial thought is robots for safety, right? It just seems so straightforward. The appeal of using robots in dangerous roles, think miners in shaky tunnels, firefighters in collapsing buildings, or maybe divers deep underwater, it's undeniable.
Definitely. It feels morally clear, doesn't it, to reduce human exposure to harm, especially when machines can handle environments that are, say, toxic, radioactive, or structurally unsound.
That moral clarity is, it's often highlighted by advocates. They argue that if safer alternatives exist, deliberately sending people into danger becomes incredibly difficult to justify.
Exactly. And plus, there's a powerful efficiency argument, too. Machines aren't held back by fatigue or, basic human physical limits. They allow for continuous operation where human stamina would it would falter.
Right. But here's where it gets really interesting, a kind of twist. Simply swapping humans for robots doesn't actually eliminate danger. It seems it often just redistributes it.
That's a great way to put it. Redistributes it. We might solve some technical challenges like making robots tougher, but deeper concerns pop up, like how do you guarantee a robot operates reliably when things are unpredictable? Or how do you safeguard its autonomy? Make sure it isn't manipulated. These are complex issues.
And that leads straight to the accountability question, doesn't it? If one of these advanced robots messes up, who takes the fall?
Precisely. Who is accountable? Is it the designer? The operator? Maybe the company that deployed it? You see different ideas floated, like strict liability where one party is responsible no matter what. But that could potentially stifle innovation. People might be too scared to try new things.
Okay, so that sounds risky.
It is. But then shared liability where blame is spread out, well, that risks diffusing responsibility so much that no one feels truly accountable. Finding that balance between encouraging new tech and ensuring human safety is really tricky. There's no perfect model.
And beyond the technical stuff, there's this really profound human element, too. Historically, exposure to genuine danger has been like a crucible for expertise.
Yeah, that's a key point.
Think of a firefighter's judgment under intense pressure or a pilot handling turbulence. Can simulations truly replicate that sort of muscle memory of courage that develops under real threat?
The evidence there is quite mixed, actually. Some argue virtual training works. Others say there's no substitute for the real thing. Does it foster the same resilience? It's an open question.
So if we connect this to the bigger picture, the economic and social side comes into view pretty quickly.
Right. Automation could absolutely save lives, no doubt. But it also has the potential to displace livelihoods, especially in sectors where dangerous work is, central to the economy.
And retraining is often suggested, but it's not that simple, is it?
Not at all. There are often real structural barriers, things like limited access to good education or maybe geographic immobility. People can't just pick up and move. Think about, say, coal miners in areas where that's the main industry. Retraining programs might not fully replace a good-paying, community-defining job. So certain groups could end up bearing a disproportionate burden from automation.
So putting this all together, what does it mean for our ethical calculus? It feels like it's not reducible to just one single principle.
No, it really isn't. You have to look at it through multiple ethical lenses. So a utilitarian view, focused on the greatest good, might lean heavily towards automation to minimize overall harm.
Okay, minimize harm. That makes sense.
But then a deontological perspective, which stresses duties and rights, that might emphasize preserving human dignity and the individual's right to choose risky labor, even if it's dangerous.
The right to choose.
Exactly. And then there's another angle, like a virtue-based approach. This looks at the kind of character traits we want to cultivate. It might actually value the development of courage and resilience, qualities that could potentially be diminished if we externalize all risk onto machines.
So different ethical frameworks can lead to really different conclusions here.
They absolutely can. Take that mining example again. In unstable terrain, a utilitarian might say, full automation, reduce injuries. A deontologist might argue, uphold the worker's informed right to choose that work, like an ONA. And a virtue ethicist might see some value in humans participating in controlled risk, developing those virtues.
Wow. So reconciling these viewpoints isn't easy.
Not at all. It demands really explicit decision-making principles. We need to think about prioritizing harm reduction in the most extreme conditions, yes, but also ensuring truly informed consent and somehow preserving opportunities for human skill development.
This deep dive really shows that the question isn't just about the technology, the robots themselves. It's fundamentally about how we, as societies, weigh safety against skill, against livelihood.
Exactly. It forces us to ask whether we define risk purely as something negative to be minimized at all costs, or if we see it as sometimes being an essential context for developing identity and capability.
That's a lot to think about.
It is. Ultimately, the path forward isn't really about the specifics of the robots. It's about the governance we build around them, the ethical priorities we set, the institutional frameworks we establish. And it leaves us with a pretty profound question to ponder. What kind of society are we actually building if we try to remove all forms of personal risk? And what, if anything, do we lose in that process?
We really hope this exploration has given you plenty to consider and perhaps sparked some new thoughts. Thank you so much for joining us on Radio AI and giving us your time and attention today. We genuinely encourage you to share your own thoughts or reflections in the comments below. Hope to have you with us again on Radio AI. Until next time.